Hello and welcome to this round gamer video. Gaia, the mother of the earth, is here as the final dragon slayer, which is being released just after Beowulf is out, and hopefully she will turn out to be a decent attacker. She was always advertised or expected to be an attacker if you've been following the lore and listening into the rumors, etc. So she is a attacker with Goliaths as her weapon. We'll do a skills and a relic detailed breakdown of her and what she brings to the game. We'll do a comparison with the now pretty sad expression there of Hachiman, but Hachiman does still have a place, I would still say, at least on as a time killer on defense. And I will do also a look at the relics, possible build options, a little play around with Yuki's database, dotdatabase.net, fantastic website, do check it out, and I'll discuss some options on that, and yeah, there we go. So here's what you are here. If you're only here for that, then here's that you want to start with. Here's Gaia. She's an Earth champion, so she will have the option to equip all those 5-star relics that are the champion class. So we'll have a look at those as well in a bit. Now, as her own skills go, I think that is possibly the most damage I have seen on a Titan. Maybe Thor can actually do a little bit more or comparable, but if you look at that, that's 600% damage on attack with 60% base damage, and her prestige skill only adds to that. So if you take that and along with the massive 400 armor piercing, which is really like what you get in on infiltrators, I mean, that's crazy, and 44% critical, and a monumental amount of health, that's 400% health, and which also again increases with her prestige skill. I think she's going to be an absolute tank. If you're a new player to the game, I mean, this will certainly change the way you proceed through the levels. You probably will crush most of the castle defenses in the earlier levels of the game, probably till castle at least level 15. I think are pretty easy for her to take out all those defenses. And the only thing she falls a little short on compared to other Titans is her armor, which is a little low, 180%, but it is very, very respectable indeed. She offers 40% melee resist and a 35% all enable resist when she's attacking. So an attacker really has a lot under her belt. There is no ranged resist, so that you keep that in mind. So if you're going to take your guy and attack, and you're going up against the arch enemies of Goliaths, which or single units, which are, I'm sure you can guess by now, Storm Maidens, then those Storm Maidens will absolutely eat Gaia alive. Because, well, good luck getting max melee, max range resist, which is 95% on her, so or Goliath. So that's going to be difficult. But as a Titan goes in melee combat, I think she's going to be absolutely great. And being a champion, she is in that class that is kind of designed to stand her ground and soak in massive amount of damage and deal a lot of damage at the same time. So good Titan in that respect. And let's have a look at the other thing that she brings to the game, which is probably the more important part, which is the Goliaths, and which is what most of us high-level players, when I say us, I mean me, because I'm castle level 25, and many players are who have been playing this game for a lot of time. So her Goliaths will offer almost exact stats as her, which is interesting because you almost see Goliaths as champions in a way as well. So her Goliaths will be having 600% damage with 60% base damage as well, which will definitely put her as the maximum damage dealer, or a Titan that can produce the maximum damage on Goliaths, and that's crazy. You also get a 400% armor piercing on her Goliaths, which is just incredible. What that really means is that any other defense that has which has got its armor less than 400%, her Goliaths are going to absolutely batter them to pieces, because Goliaths, the way they are designed in the game, that if they're surrounded by a lot of units, that it's actually, if there is a battalion of units, not all the battalion is actually attack the Goliath. It's only going to be a small radius of them around the Goliath that actually does it. So that actually kind of offers them a natural protection. So now with that amount of armor piercing that you have, when you go and attack defenses, if you can break in 400% armor straight away, I mean those Goliaths are going to start dealing. I mean that's 600%, 600 plus 60 damage that you have on your Goliaths. I mean they're going to really start to batter up your troops. So, and Goliaths do stand a lot of time on the ground. Now, a slight letdown here, with some people might consider letdown, is a rather what I wouldn't say low, but low than what you would expect for a Dragon Slayer class. So you have 267% health. People would have expected a larger percentage, but what I would remind people is that Goliaths are very tanky by default, so those percentages are really a lot. I mean, Hachiman has got, I think, 234% health buff on defense. It is higher than that. So if you liked Hachiman the way he was on defense, you probably will like Gaia. But well, hold on to that thought, because there are a few differences we will talk about. Now, the other thing she does very well is that Goliaths have a massive amount of armor on attack. You're talking about upwards of 300 and I think 56% or something like that. That's just incredible. And I just did the maths there. So that is a lot of armor as well. So if you're attacking, if your enemy troop doesn't have a lot of armor piercing, that will really help her as well, because that means her Goliaths will automatically start to will cut down the amount of damage they receive. So that is excellent. Then you also get 40% melee resist by default. So what that means is you need to look for relics that can give her Goliath 40% extra melee resist, and that will cap your resist out. And that is actually not too hard from the amount of relics we have in the game. So that's excellent. And you get 35% all elemental resist, which is very good. Maybe if it was a 40% that would have helped with the relic builds, but 35% is very good as well. And yeah, you also get 44% critical, which is a tier 3 skill for Goliath. So yeah, I think all in all, a very well-rounded Goliath thing. I don't think really, apart from maybe I would have, well, maybe I guess like all of us, I would have liked some range resist and some little bit more health on Goliaths. Now, I think that is a pretty solid. So we are not going to contest that. Now let's talk about the special skills. Her special skills are that she relies on the fact that she can deal critical hits, and this is similar to what we have in for Mahaha, because Mahaha also requires that he does critical hits in order for his corrupted Imperials to spawn. So here again we have it on Gaia. But it makes more sense for a champion to do that, because you do have a much larger health pool. So I think that is fine for Gaia, because well, Gaia can if you can get relics to get her or resistance is a bit up, I think she can stand the ground. So I think I like that overall. So critical, pretty good. So if the moment she does a critical, if she does 5 critical hits, you're gonna get these 5 special corrupted Goliaths, which by the way are ones which have 150% extra damage, 60% more health, and increased size. I guess what that means is they'll probably have a larger radius in which they, when they swipe their clubs around, they probably will damage more troops. That's what I would guess, but there's no confirmation on that. And they will have increased speed. I wonder though whether they have a speed larger than Omega Goliaths, because Omega Goliaths are pretty fast as well. Anyway. So that's what we have, and you'll also get a 30% Titan Troop Earth damage buff. So the moment you get 5 corrupted Goliaths, let's say you're going to get 150% troop damage add on to that. So that's going to take your 600% there to 750 with that 60% base damage. And you're also going to get, your Titan also is going to get stronger, which of course is great for newer players. But I think everyone else will be probably just using Gaia as someone you just want a her to survive long enough to do the critical hits required. Now also what will happen is whenever she does a critical hit, there's a 50% chance to cast Rage on 5 Goliaths. Now the way if this Rage works the way it has been, let's say on Eros, then if your if your Goliaths are all assembled together in a smaller spot, which a lot of people might consider doing, then you can pretty much say that, well, if every second critical hit, every time 2 critical hits happen, you will be guaranteed to at least get one opportunity to rage all your Goliaths up. So which is fantastic, and probably useful as well when you are considering using her attack. And this will, by the way, only happen 5 times, so yeah, it's not like Eros where you get a rage every 7 seconds or whatever that is. So yeah, but it is still pretty useful, and you're going to get 5% Titan into critical. Where that's helpful as well, that'll take your 44% to up by 25%. So if you kind of can ensure that Gaia survives for doing 5 critical hits, you will basically ensure that you will get 5 corrupted Goliath spawn up, and you will also get 25% critical buff, taking that 44 to 69%. Now also what happens is every 7 seconds within the aura, that should have been within her aura, she will grant a 1.5x Goliath movement speed. They call it a haste. Essentially your Goliaths will move faster, and I guess what that means for corrupted Goliaths is that they move even faster than they were already moving. It wouldn't stack though, so they'll increase and they'll stop, and then they'll increase back to 1.5x. So they'll just move 50% faster, that's what it means. And this will happen 10 times. So for 70 seconds, you're going to have really fast moving Goliaths all over the field. So that is very interesting. Now, one thing to also mention is that that these corrupted Goliaths, remember, unlike Omega Goliaths, you can't control them. They will just drop on an enemy, a random enemy somewhere on the field. So yeah, well that could be a useful thing. I mean, if you're attacking let's say a ranged defense, which probably is not a good idea because Goliaths don't have range resist, but let's say you were attacking a tower rooms, and so what that means is there'll be chance for these Goliaths, corrupted Goliaths, to actually spawn or drop whatever it is on those Grenadiers right at the back. So yeah, that could be definitely helpful. Right, so those are skills. So essentially you get corrupted Goliaths, you get rages on them, you can get damage, but you get a damage buff increase and a critical hit. So very important that your Gaia is able to dish out lots of critical hits. I would say at least, if you want to get all the benefits out of those, that you at least have 10 critical hits, because 10 critical hits will ensure all the benefits here. So 10 critical hits will ensure, because that's 50% chance, so that's why it's 10. Right, what else do we have then? Prestige skill, I already spoke about the base damage buff, so that's pretty good. Remember, it's Prestige 10, that is. You probably start at 50% base health. Now, every 7 seconds, what you'll also get at Prestige level 1, that is when you fuse in one Earth Titan into her, 4-star Earth Titan into her, you'll unlock 30% Titan and troop Earth damage within her, so that's good, and that'll happen maximum 12 times. I think it's definitely worth prestiging her at least level 1, because that really works well with her critical skill. So that is excellent, because essentially you'll be stacking up 360% additional damage. I think that's like a no-brainer to do. Now if you get her to prestige level 4 or up, then you will also get 30% Titan and troop armor piercing, and I think this is a good target to get, and we'll see why very shortly when I do a comparison between her Goliaths and Rostam's Horde. But that can be a very crucial thing, because 12 times is giving her troops 360% armor piercing buff, and that's very significant, so keep that in mind. Now at prestige level 7 and plus, now not a lot of us are actually going to start entering this realm, so this is very specific, probably for those with a lot of Earth prestige fodder. But if you do, then prestige level 7, you're going to get -4% elemental resist for Earth decreased on the enemy. So you can decrease the elemental resist from 90% to 52% for the enemy, which is obviously great. But remember that also means that if it happens 12 times, that you got to make sure that the battle lasts and Gaia survive for that long. That's 96 seconds that you got to make sure your Gaia is alive. So yeah, pretty good skills, and if you are one who can max prestige this Gaia, that's going to be something crazy, because what you're going to get now, I think, is pretty special, which is 75% chance to summon Omega Goliaths. Now, Omega Goliaths are pretty nasty. I don't really know how nasty Corrupted Goliaths will be, because I already find Omega Goliaths pretty nasty when they come to the amount of damage they deal. So if you manage to get prestige level 10, what will happen is that whenever your Corrupted Goliath dies, now there is a caveat to that. If Corrupted Goliaths have all that extra health, if they're incredibly hard to kill, they might actually be the last troop to die on the field. So whether that will mean that the Omega Goliaths will just come into the battle too late, but either way, that is going to be something useful. You can get 75% chance. That's a pretty high percentage of getting Omega Goliaths, and that'll happen 5 times. So now, what that means though is that there isn't a guarantee that you're going to get an Omega Goliath when a Corrupted Goliath dies. It's a 75% chance. So high percentage, but there's a chance you would not get it. So this is almost like a gamble, this skill, this last prestige skill. But that could make or break some attack. I don't know. 5 Omega Goliaths could do a lot of damage. Because do remember that Omega Goliaths actually come in threes. I think the 3 Goliaths that you get, of course, the total health is distributed between them, but that is what the difference is. So yeah, something to note. So I think certainly P4 is a good target to go for. P7 is also going to be very useful, but P10, I don't know whether that's totally worth it. But yeah, there you go. That's the breakdown of the skills. Now we have 3 new relics: Gaia's Amulet, Stone Pantheon, and Dracoterra at 23, 24, 26 stretch goals in a way. Gaia's Amulet pretty good. You get 50% Triton troop damage, 40% armor piercing, and some health and buff. This relic actually gives you everything you would want for your Corrupted Goliaths, especially. You get damage, health, armor, and armor piercing. So solid relic. Though that last skill, remember, is specifically for Corrupted Goliath, so just keep that in mind. But yeah, if you're just looking for damage and armor piercing on Goliath, that is a good one to go for. Stone Pantheon, I really like the statue. Wish we could get these as something to buy. I would certainly buy one of those. But you get 20% Titan troop melee resist, and 80% Corrupted Goliath earth damage and armor piercing. This is a good relic on when I look at it. But melee resist can be easily got from other relics. But that 20% is a decent number. So whether you would want to commit totally to that, Jade Statue could be one you might want to go for, which is an old relic. And I think it's called Jade Statue, unless I'm getting it wrong. But that itself will give you 80% damage buff for all troops. So there is probably a better relic out there. So yeah, just keep that in mind. 26, you got Dracoterra, which is good. And I think the reason they've put it 26k, although I don't think it's the top-notch one, because it's specifically for your troops, for your earth troops. You're gonna get 40% Titan troop health and 18%, and wish that was 20%. I really get annoyed when I see 18 or these numbers like that. But anyway, 80% Titan and troop, but probably the reason it is so because you're gonna get troop melee and elemental resist, which is kind of an interesting combination you get for Titan and troops. So yeah, that's probably useful. So yeah, certain merit definitely in there. But I think out of all of these, I think the Gaia's Amulet would be my favorite. Right, the boost relics for this event, which is going to start tomorrow, boost types for this event, sorry, are going to be Kronos, Uranus, Zeus, Gaia, and Osiris. If you ask me, if you have all of these, then apart from Gaia, of course, then the fastest one to use for your PP grinding will probably be Osiris, especially if you have The two relics I'm going to talk about is Void Rune and Golden Scales. You can literally melt everything in seconds. If we're talking couple of seconds, that's it. So yeah, I would be personally using Osiris. Up to you what you want to use. 1.2 with all 4-star Earth Titans and 1.1 with all 3-star Titans. It's quite unlikely that you're going to have the Nazul's heirloom, that Earth ring, the ring that gives you 20% soul boost actually work, because Chalice of Earth will unlikely to give Earth souls. They'll probably call it stone skulls or souls or something like that. So there you go. Here the reward relics, reward chain. You get 14,000 souls. You can get Kronos. Gaia herself is at 22,000 souls with some interesting relics we'll just look at now as well, which are also available here. Now, Alliance rewards, you get a maxed Gaia at level 60, so there's probably going to be a serious push for the top reward. So if you are looking to go and get yourself a maxed Gaia, then yeah, you're probably going to get yourself in top alliances and get that one. Otherwise, if you're just looking for a second copy, then 11 to 50, well, any rank between 50 will get you a second copy. Otherwise, if you just want Kronos, if you don't want two attackers, you just want to get yourself another Kronos, maybe for collection, or maybe just in fact to kind of use as fusion fodder, then 51 to 100 will be good enough. Gems following. Some relics that you have here, which are these ones. The stone mallet are also certainly useful. You're going to get earth damage, Goliath damage, and yeah, this is certainly useful. Stone mallet can certainly find itself on a lot of builds because it's one of the very few relics, I think, and probably the only one that gives Goliaths everything in one relic, yeah, that including critical. So yeah, something useful. Right, so what else do we have? So these are the other relics, 21,000 souls, you get Drum of Earth. I think this is going to find itself on almost every build because you're going to get 32% element resist to Void, which is probably what everyone wants to attack Rostam with, so that's good. 24% all elemental health, all troop health, and you get earth damage. I think this is a definite relic to use. Stonefist is an absolutely horrible relic. It's just a real waste. Yeah, I don't know why it's there at 19,000 souls. I wouldn't pay 9,000 souls for that. And Banner of Earth is at 15,000 souls, which you can do if you want to get yourself some Goliath damage as well. So there you go. That's this thing there. Now to compare Gaia and Hachiman. It is interesting to note that if you look at the health, they are very similar, but remember Hachiman actually does produce more health for the Goliaths when he's prestiged up, because Gaia does not offer any health buff to her Goliaths. That's something to note. When it comes to armor and damage, Gaia wins hands on. Well, completely, there's no comparison there if you look at that. Melee resist is much more on Hachiman, 60% compared to 40% there, and you get range resist. So defend, I think as far as defense goes, Hachiman still will do well if you don't counter in the armor bit. So if you can basically ensure that Gaia's Goliaths don't come to you, then you can keep them away, or keep kiting them, then Gaia will be fairly easy to take down with a ranged attack. So that's something there, but otherwise Hachiman actually will do better because Hachiman has a buffed up shield spell and gets 4 by default, and has a skill that grants auto shields for the Goliaths with lowest health every 20 seconds, or any troops with lower health. So that's why Hachiman is probably still going to be a slightly better defender in my opinion. But what might change stuff is when the corporate Goliaths come into play. If the health is a lot, that might slightly balance things up. But I think overall, my suspicion is that Hachiman will still be a better defender. And what that speaks for Gaia is up to you, because that might just mean Gaia isn't going to be a great defender. But yeah, just something to keep in mind. I'll leave you all to read the other skills in there, but that is the comparison. Now looking at the 5-star relics, you have Amber of Gaia, Godfrey's Poleaxe, Mjolnir, and Earthshaker. Mjolnir, I think we can write off straight away, is not a relic for this event. Unless you want to try and use your Gaia on defense with, I don't know, put in some shield spells, and maybe that helps the shield spell. But I think you shouldn't be using Mjolnir. Godfrey's Poleaxe is a fair option, but not probably the best one. the reason I say this is you get 80% Titan and troop. Well, you get 80% troop damage, which is the most you can get from a 5-star relic for your troops. But if you want to have Goliaths that will even survive longer, then you probably want to look at some other relics, which is Amber of Gaia or Earthshaker. Because if you look at Amber of Gaia, you get 65% troop damage and you get 90% troop health, which actually is the most you can get for a 5-star relic. So that's excellent in my opinion. And what you also get is whenever an enemy casts a spell, now remember Rostam automatically casts raid spell or a terror spell, and that happens 10 times, you're going to get a 10% reduction in the enemy's armor and armor piercing. Now, isn't that brilliant? I think this is the best relic for Gaia, and I think I'm aptly named Amber of Gaia. So if you have Amber of Gaia, I think that is a definite one you must use. But if not, then you have the option, like me, I guess, who doesn't have that one, to go for Earthshaker, because Earthshaker does offer you the same amount of troop damage as Amber of Gaia, but a lower health, which is 65%. That could make a lot of difference. That's 25% less health, but you do get 40% melee resist by default. So what that would mean, that obviously helps getting your melee resist up directly to 80% with Earthshaker. But there are plenty of relics out there which you could probably couple with Amber of Gaia to actually get that default 40% melee resist on the Goliaths to 80%. So anyway, something to keep in mind. So if you were to look at a build, here's an example of one. I've used Earthshaker because, I'm showing Hammer of Gaia. Probably not so useful because not all of us have it. But if you have these sort of relics, I think you can do a very solid build. I just tweaked one of the builds I found actually on there, so I wouldn't lie, it's not totally original on my end. But if you want to have a play around, you can with this build. Now here I've got the Earthshaker, Banner of War, Drum of Earth, Gaia's Amulet, Stone Mallet, and Ring of Juice. And except Ring of Juice and Banner of War, all of these are available in the current event. So, well, not the Earthshaker of course, but you can get one from the 2000 gems, Divine Gems offer, if you Gems Altar, if you save enough. So this is a build I think a lot of people should be able to do. Maybe not, maybe the Ring of Juice could be replaced, there are certain options for that. But the other ones you probably will have, I hope. But this is a build anyway. Now you can get 633,000 health and 83,000 damage, which is a massive amount for Goliaths. And the corrupted Goliaths will have, look at that, it's gonna have 207,000 damage. That is crazy, isn't it, for a melee attack? But do remember though that Goliaths are inherently slow, so how that will actually pan out we'll have to see. But anyway, that is good, and you get a lot of health. That's 1 million health, for more than 1 million health for Cryptic Goliaths, which remember there are only 5 of those, and your Goliaths have 633% health, 3 health, which is definitely lower than what you'll see for Hachiman, even on defense. So yeah, something to keep in mind. But you do get respectable critical 69%. Now do remember what I said, that if your Gaia can make 10 critical hits, that will actually go up to 20 plus 25, taking that to 94%. So I think that is a good number. 69% is a good number to have. 475% armor piercing is excellent. Whether that'll be enough for Rostam, we'll have a look in a minute. And you have a 396% amount of armor. Pretty good, isn't it? That's what I think so. And anyway, ward resistance is almost maxed, and your resistance to melee is maxed. So looking at the Goliaths and the Rostam's comparison. So if you look at that, your Goliaths there have look at the damage there, 80,000 damage, and Hordes are going to have 76,000 damage. This is Rostam on defense, by the way. This is some build I found which has which I think has a Dragon Slayer relic in there, and apparently a lot of people have liked this build on defense, so it might be one of the good builds. Now you have 536% armor. Now notice the armor piercing that you're getting with Gaia is 475, which means that the Horde are going to block away 60% of the damage that the Horde are going to do. Now that isn't looking very good because you're blocking stuff up, so it might be worth trying to tweak the build to actually get more armor piercing, I feel. I think even a 30% extra armor piercing will probably do some good here. So something to keep in mind. Maybe perhaps changing one of these, one of these relics. I don't know which one really would do, but maybe replacing one of those for an additional one. I mean, to be honest, that Banner of War could probably be replaced. You could replace Banner of War with another relic. Maybe I think one of those. Let's have a look. I think, yeah, certainly this one, the Gaia's Amulet, could find a place, because if you can get your Goliaths to do 40% extra troop armor piercing, you are looking at taking that up, the armor piercing up to 510%, which is excellent, isn't it? Now do note as well that what I mentioned, that the Earthshaker is probably not the best relic. If you had the Gaia, the Amber of Gaia, that's superb, because you're going to just decrease that armor and armor piercing by 100%, and that will put the armor piercing, the stats here below what Gaia is putting out on a Goliath. So that is certainly good. Keep in mind now, right? So I think overall, I think Gaia has the potential, I think, to be able to do a lot of damage. What the question really will be is whether the health that you have will be sufficient. If you look at the health, they're pretty well matched, isn't it? If you look at the health, except the Horde's Corrupted Horde have a massive health pool, which is twice that of the Corrupted Goliaths here. So, but it is going to come down to be a match, really. It could be a little long battle, but I do think that the Goliaths will survive longer than what the Goliaths, for example, or rather compared to how Maha's Imperials survive. But of course, Maha's Imperials don't have nearly as much health as the Goliaths here. Right, guys, I think that's it really for this video. I hope you liked the skills breakdown. If you did, let me know. But if not, I wish you all the best for the event if you're getting it, and I'll see you in another Wrong Game.